So it happened last night. I went out. I wore my pajamas, okay? And this ripped up hoodie. And I went toward the back right when I got there. I wanted to chill out, sit on the couch, drink some water, enjoy the music, let the crowd fill up a little bit. And as I was sitting alone on this couch, this girl came and sat by me. She goes, "Hey, can I sit here?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure. What's up?" So she sat down and I'm like, "What brings you out here tonight?" She's like, "Oh, my friend's here from Portland. I wanted to show them around." And I was like, "Oh, that's cool." And so when we got talking a little more about some deeper things, just, you know, if she's had any luck finding guys out here in Minneapolis, and she says that most guys are just trash, is what she said. So I said, "Hey, you know what? I'm not gonna sit here and argue with you. That's your experience." I didn't say any of that. Anyways, her friend came and we greeted each other and said our goodbyes, and she left. And then right after that, I saw this blonde girl standing by herself for a while. So I went up to her. I'm like, "Hey, why do you have headphones in? We're listening to live music. What are you doing with the headphones?" She's like, "Oh, I was playing a game on my phone." I'm like, "Oh, cool. What brings you out here tonight?" She's like, "I was just bored. None of my friends wanted to do anything." And I said, "Oh, that's kind of how I feel right now." Anyway, "What's your name?" She told me her name. She's like, "What's your name?" I said, "I'll tell you later." She goes, "Oh, okay." So then I left. I hit the dance floor. I'm talking 5 seconds later, two long-haired blondes started coming right. They walked right in front of me and started dancing right in front of me. They were smiling back at me, and they were giving me the business. And I was not in the mood really quite yet to open some stuff up. But I did dance with them a little bit, and then I made my way through the crowd. And the highlight of the night was I saw this little petite blonde girl. There's a pattern in my life, huh? And she was with 6 friends, and they were all fairly cute. They're all pretty cute. So all of a sudden the song came on, "Fishing in the Dark," that country song. "You and me going fishing in the dark." So I walked up to this blonde girl and I go, "You look like nothing but trouble, man. You look like you got a felony." And she just fell into her friends laughing. They were all laughing. And one of her friends said, "You're one to talk, sir," because I was wearing all black and pajamas. And then one of her other friends says, "Yeah, she has 3 DUIs. And so immediately in my mind, I'm like, "Oh, huge red flag. I would never pursue a chick with 3 DWIs. But I didn't want to linger, even though they were welcoming me in. I used my finger and I poked real good into the back side of the little blonde girl, and then she turned around and smiled at me, and I went on my way. I went into a different location. But every once in a while she would turn back and I could see her scanning the room. She was looking for me. And then we'd lock eyes and she'd just break. She'd be like, "Oh, you caught me." And I could tell I could continue to keep talking to her, but I wanted to give some energy to other women. There are other women that I didn't find as attractive, but I still wanted them to have fun. There were 2 girls dancing. They were holding hands like this. And I put my hand in between them and stole one of the blonde girls that was standing next to me. And I started dancing with her, and I spun her around a little bit. And then I brought her hand back in with her friend. And I was just doing that type of stuff throughout the night. And other men watched me, you know, act in my pajamas. And other men were greeting me and saying, "What's up?" and "Yo." And we're dancing, we're having fun. There were some pretty cool dudes out there last night. But one thing I noticed was a lot of guys were drinking, you know, double fisting beers and acting sloppy and not very sharp on their toes. And I could see that they wanted to feel confident to approach women and be friendly and have a connection. But, you know, we all fall for the big lie that alcohol gives us confidence and it's going to give us that edge, but it really doesn't at the end of the day. Confidence is God-given. Confidence is built from the inside. Nothing from the outside world should ever try to give you confidence. look, there's places and things that could give you a boost. You know, if you're healthy and strong, you have a house and a nice car, that's all good, but nothing can replace the inside confidence that you have to build on your own by doing acts of courage. Even when things are hard, even when you're scared. I mean, I always think about the people in Normandy, you know, that came off onto the boats to go to battle, to go to war. They were absolutely terrified. All those men were horrified. I can only imagine. But they jumped out of the boats, man. Like they marched toward the shore and they fought for your freedom so that you could have a pair of balls and live the life that they never got to live. So go out there and do acts of courage and stop drinking and smoking. Right now I'm still smoking, vaping, but I'm done drinking. I don't want to drink anymore. It's not what it's a total scam. And let's all try not to drink. Anyways, it was a fun night dancing with dudes, with chicks, in my pajamas. When I tell you, once again, I was surrounded by women because I don't give a flip, dude. That's ultra confidence. You show up and most people are in their button downs trying to look perfect in their Ziploc outfits that are airtight. And that's not humanity. Humanity's a little rough, a little rugged, a little imperfect. The imperfections that you have is what makes you sexy. Stop trying to look like a magazine model and embrace your imperfections. That's what makes you sexy as a man. Embrace that shit. Embrace that masculinity and that rawness that you feel inside. And you'll be rewarded. You know, it was a good time at the gym, at the club. I didn't even drink one sip of alcohol. I was drinking water all night. So I got to dance with all the women. I didn't spend any money. I was in my pajamas and I had all the confidence. I didn't see any other guys doing ballsy shit that I was doing. None. And they were all looking at me in bewilderment. How is this guy? What does this guy know? And you know what I know? I know Jesus Christ. And that's why I stand tall. That's why I stand strong. And that's why I'm okay in my own skin. And I was just at the gym right now, actually, and there was this little blonde girl that usually follows me around, and I saw her sitting on a bench with some weights, and she was curling, but she was sitting. And at one point, she had both her dumbbells on the floor. And I walked across the room, and I grabbed one of her dumbbells, and I just started, I turned away from her, and I started curling it and putting it up in my head. And then I turned around, and I said, "That's some heavy shit." And she goes, "Yeah." I was like, "I think you can do heavier though." And she goes, "You think so?" And she was smiling. And I was like, "Yeah." So then I walked out. But no man has ever done that to her. Is it weird? Is it different? Am I gonna get the cops called on me? Yeah, probably call the cops on me. I don't give a shit. Make a scene. "Oh, I stole your dumbbell." Man, sue me. Let's get our lawyers in contact. But anyways, you know, women, they'll reward your confidence and your boldness. They're waiting for you to act. They really are waiting for you to be strong. So be strong.